Thanks for joining us for the second of our Retail 360 mini webinar series. My name is Charlie Schreier. I'm on the marketing team here at Striver. This episode is going to be focused on safety, creating a consistent culture of safety in every store location. People want to feel safe at work, and creating that kind of environment is huge for recruiting and keeping great people. They're your most important asset to protect. Many in-store safety situations are highly emotional. They're really emergencies where you can read every manual and watch every training video in the book, but nothing replicates the emotion you'll actually feel in the situation, not even role play. However, one thing does come close, and that's virtual reality. Today, we're going to share a specific example from Verizon, just to scratch the surface of virtual reality's impact there. So with distributed operations, it's imperative for your organization that everyone must be prepared for safety during emergency situations, particularly in the retail space, where associates and store managers oversee thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars in merchandise, while simultaneously managing in-store customers and often chaotic environments. Unfortunately, active shooter training and robbery training has just become a necessary component of these types of jobs. Now, research has shown that the brain treats experiences in virtual reality just like it would treat real life. So what that means is that when that particular situation arises in the real world, people feel more prepared because they've already experienced it in virtual reality. This virtual practice is what makes training for armed robbery and other asset protection scenarios so powerful. In the headset, you look around and you're standing outside a Verizon store early one morning as you're scheduled to open, when up from behind you comes a masked gunman shouting orders and anxious to get inside and get his hands on the inventory. Another experience is at store closing, and another is a snatch and grab during store hours. Throughout the entire experience in the headset, you get asked questions about what to do next, how to calm customers, how to remain safe, how to keep everyone around you safe, as well as questions after the robbery by police officers who are investigating. What color shoes, shirt, eyes did the burglar have? You're experiencing it as if it's actually happening. Your heart rate goes up. Your palms get sweaty. You get nervous. It's a very emotional experience. And all of this contributes to the learning and the retention in the brain, so that if you're ever in that situation, you know exactly what to do because you've been there before. So what makes this so effective compared to live simulations or other types of emergency preparedness training? Well, as I said, studies have proven that the brain treats VR experiences just like real life. So when you combine this sense of presence that VR provides with what we know about how the brain learns, this is really where VR outperforms those other methods. Learners get immediate feedback on right and wrong answers and the behaviors that they're exhibiting, which drives home the learning objectives that you want to convey. And training leaders can assess that proficiency with the material based on immersive data, like where the learner was looking when certain things happened. For safety preparedness, this level of insights is so valuable in making sure that when it matters most, associates can rely on their training and follow protocol because they've been there before. We're going to give you a little 90-second clip from Verizon, who has implemented this, as I discussed earlier, and they're presenting what VR training and the impact that it's had on their trainees. So take a look at the video here that we're going to share.
Our employees want to know that we care about them. They want to know, what are we doing? It's one thing to talk about safety and security for your employees. It's another thing to bring that idea to life. Feeling safe and secure in your workplace is integral to the decisions people make about where they're going to come to work.
This was a particular problem that we were working with Striver on. How do we better equip our leaders for an unfortunate situation like a store robbery? And so this first use case for us was a perfect one. It's very difficult to replicate in a role play scenario what a real robbery would feel like.
If you put a heart monitor on all of our employees who go through this training, I think you would see a dramatic increase in their heart rate because it replicates the actual stores where we work in, and from many videos we have from actual robberies, it also replicates the actual activities of robberies.
It was very easy to get our leaders engaged, and then they look to us to come up with the right learning solutions that will yield the best results. It's an experience that we could not replicate. That's what I think is key about VR.
I would describe this as probably one of the most emotional trainings that I've ever experienced with my time here at Verizon Wireless, and probably the most raw trainings I've experienced.
Our learners go through 3 or 4 different scenarios, and by the time they've gone through the 3rd scenario, you can just see the confidence that they're building. Like, hey, if this happened, I would be ready for it.
One thing to note is the learning structure. With 3 experiences to go through, employees were gaining proficiency with each one. So by the time they went through the 3rd situation in virtual reality, they performed much better than they did in the 1st. And that extended beyond the VR. 97% of the employees felt more prepared for a robbery situation after the training in VR. This preparation is crucial for many types of safety, but particularly in the high-stress moments like in-store emergencies and robberies. We've also seen feedback in other industries that indicate that learners feel much more prepared using VR for safety training than through other methods of training. And we'd be happy to share those results with you if you're interested. They pertain more to warehouse, supply chain, and other sort of back office methods and procedures that need to be trained for in safety. So just to real quick, what makes us experts on this topic of virtual reality for safety training? Well, that's because we're the leaders in immersive learning. Quick overview of Striver. The company was incubated at the Stanford University Virtual Reality Lab in 2015 to experiment with VR as a tool for training football players. With sports as that proving ground, we turned to focus on how immersive technology could also improve learning in the enterprise. Today, leaders in the Fortune 500, like Verizon, who we mentioned in this webinar, and Walmart, who we mentioned in others, they partner with Striver for immersive learning, a groundbreaking approach that combines virtual reality with advanced learning theory, data science, and spatial design. Striver offers the end-to-end solution that consists of software and professional services in order to deliver the most effective and engaging immersive learning experiences. And we partner with all of our clients in order to figure out what business objectives are most important to them and how we can map those learning objectives to those business objectives. So make sure to also tune in to our keynote session today on immersive learning and improving workplace safety, where you'll get to hear directly from Verizon and get a deeper dive into the Verizon use case. Thanks so much for joining us for this mini webinar, and we'll see you soon.